At speeds exceeding Mach 5, atmospheric friction generates temperatures over 1700 degrees Celsius, turning the air into a glowing envelope of plasma. Welcome to the global Warwatch network. The central question facing modern militaries is whether billion-dollar air defense networks can physically intercept weapons traveling at these extreme velocities while they execute unpredictable mid-flight maneuvers. Before we break down the engineering behind these systems, make sure to subscribe to the Global Warwatch network for more rigorous analysis of military technology. Today, we are evaluating the hypersonic dilemma through a strict tech versus tech framework, measuring the offensive physics of these weapons against the absolute engineering limits of modern interception systems. This animated diagram compares three distinct flight trajectories: the high parabolic arc of an intercontinental ballistic missile, the low-altitude path of a traditional cruise missile, and between them, the jagged trajectory of a hypersonic glide vehicle. By flying in this specific altitude band, these vehicles exploit a coverage gap, bypassing the primary engagement zones of high and low-altitude defenses. Traditional air defense relies heavily on predicting a target's fixed parabolic path to launch an interceptor toward a future point in space. High-G course changes at Mach 5 shatter those predictive algorithms, rendering standard intercept solutions useless. To complicate tracking further, the intense heat of hypersonic flight strips electrons from surrounding air molecules, enveloping the vehicle in a plasma sheath. This ionized gas absorbs and scatters terrestrial radar frequencies, masking the missile's true radar cross-section. Space-based infrared sensors struggle with this phase as well. While the vehicle is hot, its physical size is relatively small. During the glide phase, it emits a thermal signature that is only a fraction of the massive rocket plumes satellites are calibrated to detect. Combining extreme speed, the near-space altitude gap, and plasma stealth creates a structural sensor tracking gap. By the time terrestrial systems acquire a clean lock, the attacker has a massive kinetic head start. The United States currently relies on two primary frontline kinetic defense systems to counter high-speed inbound threats: the Patriot PAC-3 MSE and the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, or THAAD. The Patriot PAC-3 operates on hit-to-kill technology. Instead of detonating an explosive fragmentation warhead in the vicinity of the target, the interceptor must achieve direct body-to-body kinetic impact to obliterate the incoming payload. THAAD serves as the higher altitude counterpart, designed to intercept targets in the upper limits of the atmosphere. Like Patriot, it is a kinetic interceptor, requiring absolute precision to strike the target directly. Because both systems engage targets in their terminal phase, the final dive toward the objective, the tactical time compression is severe. Ground operators and automated fire control systems often have only seconds to calculate a firing solution, launch, and guide the interceptor. While hit-to-kill mechanics are highly lethal, relying entirely on terminal interception leaves defenders with zero margin for error. A single miss allows the weapon to reach its target. Russia has developed its own strategic equivalent, aimed at high-tier near-space threats, designating it the S-500 Prometheus system. The manufacturer claims the S-500 can achieve engagement altitudes up to 200 kilometers, utilizing interceptors that reportedly travel between Mach 15 and Mach 20. Western defense analysts view these metrics with skepticism. The system's serial production has faced years of delays, and its theoretical capabilities against hypersonic vehicles remain unverified in complex combat environments. Regardless of the engineering origin, the limitation of terminal kinetic defense is universal. You are fighting the threat at its most unpredictable and fastest stage, directly above the asset you are trying to protect. To regain the tactical advantage, defense agencies are working to move interception earlier in the kill chain. The primary solution currently in development is the Glide Phase Interceptor, or GPI. The US and Japan are executing a cooperative program to integrate the GPI into the Aegis combat system, deploying it on guided missile destroyers. Engaging a target during its mid-course glide requires an interceptor with a multi-stage booster and reignitable motors. This allows the weapon to perform energy management, braking or accelerating, to pace the erratic maneuvers of a glide vehicle in the thin upper atmosphere. Because the interceptor must be fired before ground radars can establish a clear tracking lock, the GPI relies entirely on a continuous stream of telemetry handed off from space-based infrared satellite networks. Destroying the vehicle mid-flight, before it can utilize the denser lower atmosphere for its high-G terminal evasion maneuvers, is currently the only viable method to neutralize the threat effectively. Directed energy weapons are frequently proposed as the theoretical ultimate defense. By engaging targets at the speed of light and drawing from an effectively infinite electrical magazine, lasers appear well-suited to counter the speed advantages of hypersonic weapons. This flowchart classifies the primary architectures for laser-based directed energy weapons: solid-state, chemical, fiber, and free electron lasers. Focusing specifically on the solid-state and fiber categories, the leading candidates for mobile platforms, current operational power outputs max out at roughly 300 kilowatts. That 300 kilowatt limit is effective against drones or artillery. However, hypersonic missiles are encased in thermal shielding explicitly designed to withstand continuous atmospheric friction exceeding 1700 degrees Celsius. To induce structural failure on a hypersonic nose cone, a defense system would need a laser outputting a minimum of 1 megawatt. Furthermore, the beam must hold absolute focus on a specific point of the rapidly maneuvering fuselage for several seconds to burn through the ablation layer. While lasers solve the problem of magazine depth, the sheer physics of thermal ablation and the complexity of sustained beam focus make them unviable for intercepting hypersonic weapons with our current technology. Evaluating interception strictly through physics ignores the logistical reality of modern combat. We must also analyze the missile economy, specifically the cost-exchange ratio between offensive and defensive weapons. A single defensive interceptor, like an SM-6 or THAAD, costs between $4 and $15 million to manufacture. Adversaries can exploit this by deploying high-volume drone swarms and lower-cost ballistic munitions to saturate an area prior to a hypersonic launch. Firing these high-end, multi-million-dollar interceptors at low-tier targets rapidly depletes the finite physical magazine on a naval destroyer or a ground battery. This severe financial and logistical disparity forces air defense commanders into an impossible calculation: spend your advanced interceptors early and run out of ammunition, or hold your fire and risk losing critical infrastructure to cheaper threats. In a sustained attritional environment, successfully shooting down an incoming weapon can result in a strategic economic defeat if the cost disparity between the attacker and the defender remains radically unbalanced. Relying on a single interceptor platform operating in isolation is no longer sufficient to secure a territory against these multifaceted threats. Future defense requires a system of systems architecture. Low Earth orbit satellites track the thermal signature from launch, hand the telemetry off to an Aegis combat ship for a mid-course glide phase interception, and utilize land-based kinetic systems as a final terminal safety net. This layered, AI-driven data fusion approach distributes the engagement burden across multiple domains, mitigating both the kinematic speed advantage and the economic asymmetry of the attacker. Neutralizing hypersonic threats requires matching the attacker's complexity with a seamlessly integrated defense network. Thank you for watching the Global Warwatch Network. If you found this breakdown valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth military analysis. Let us know your thoughts on the future of hypersonic defense and the missile economy in the comments below. And be sure to follow us on our social media platforms using the links provided in the description.